Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you today with an article from Townhall.com dated September 10th. And the news all this week, and I'm recording this a few days after the event. You can see the headline here. It's called "They Murdered Charlie Kirk and They Must Pay." And I have not read this yet, but I know Kurt Schlichter tends to not mince words. He's very forthright, and he's probably going to say everything that I'm thinking. And no, YouTube, this isn't people need to go around and end the lives of certain people. I'm going to go ahead and guess that's not it, because he wouldn't say that, but in legal ways. But just before I get into this, just to mention, I never really listened a lot to Charlie Kirk. I saw the clips of him on campuses and stuff like that, but I never went out of my way to listen to his show that he did, I think, on Real America's Voice, I think it was, or anything like that. But his influence in the conservative movement, I know, is gigantic, and he will not be able to be replaced. So right off the bat, just rest in peace, Charlie. I guess we're all going to take it from here now, and your shoes will not be able to be filled, but we'll do our best. So here we go. Kurt Schlichter says, "This may be the hardest column I've ever written, one where I'm so angry that it's hard for me to put my words into a sequence that's both coherent and not profane. And they murdered Charlie Kirk today. They shot him dead because he dared to exercise his right as a human being to speak freely. Contrary to what Democrat senators insist, our rights do not come from government but are endowed within us by our Creator." So this was not merely a crime against one man or against his beautiful family, but against both this country and our God, and it will be righteously avenged. I'll leave it to others who knew him even better to tell you about what a wonderful guy he was. And yeah, if you go look up any videos of him, he just seemed like a nice dude. You know what I mean? Always seemed to have a smile on his face. Just seemed like he just loved doing what he did. And he's in interviews saying that before, that he'd wake up and was just amazed that this was the life he got to lead. So that's a good thing. Everybody should aspire to that sort of life. It says, "There have already been testimonies to that truth, and there will be more. But I can say that I did many hits on his podcast, and he was always polite and incisive. I texted with him occasionally, and we did not always agree. However, the last text he sent me was to thank me. I had asked him to be a guest on a radio show I was guest hosting, and he had a conflict. His last text was to thank me for inviting him. Like the great Andrew Breitbart, another visionary taken from us far too soon, he inspired thousands, perhaps millions, of patriots." And Andrew Breitbart, though, died, I think, of a heart attack, so that wasn't like somebody assassinated him or anything like that. It says, "The ripples from Charlie Kirk will go on in our politics and culture for decades. His work helped bring Donald Trump back into the White House. Countless young people got into the movement through Turning Point USA, just like countless folks got their start in this movement through Andrew Breitbart. There's going to be a Turning Point USA president somewhere down the road, someone who got his start at one of Charlie's conventions, listening to a podcast or attending a campus visit. He's not going to be forgotten. They may have killed him, but they're not going to kill the movement he started. Oh no, they don't get to win. They don't get to murder their way to victory. They don't get to scare us, intimidate us, or decapitate our movement. We're going to double down. No, we're going to triple down. In fact, I'd go even further and say we're going to octuple down." It says, "The Democrats are out there with their weasel words today, taking a pause from calling all of us fascists, including just the day before he was murdered, Charlie Kirk specifically, to express their sorrow and grief." And the Democrats still haven't figured out what fascist actually means. And it'd be nice if they did, because I love how they purposely incite rhetoric that makes people want to do what happened to Charlie Kirk. And then when it happens, they're like, "Oh no, we need to calm things down," because they know there's a storm coming back, as this article says, and it's not going to be good for them. And as I'm recording this, people are getting absolutely wiped out of their jobs on the left for celebrating his death. I mean, I remember cancel culture. That was kind of the thing that made me start really looking into political stuff back in probably 2017, 2018, right after Trump was elected, or I should say put in office. And I was just kind of like, what is this going on? And it was one of those things too that you're like, when things turn around and the other side has the power, you're not going to like it. Okay, it's just one of those things. And now that it's hitting them, they're like, they don't know what to do. This cancel culture of all these people getting fired for just being shit human beings, for cheering on the death of somebody. Okay, so where was I here? It says, Yeah, so Democrats that mouth the right words, but their words are empty. They are lies. The leftists are sorry that they're going to get tarred appropriately with the same brush as this killer or killers, because they didn't, Kirk didn't know at the time. It is one guy. They know this. They have him in custody. That was this morning as I record this. That they announced that they have the guy in custody with a good degree of probability that it is in fact him, and it certainly seems like it is. It says, after their acolytes tried to wipe out a Republican congressional softball team, that's the Steve Scalise shooting from I don't even remember what year that was. That was before I was really paying attention to anything, so it was pre-2017. Anyway, it says they went rampaging through various Christian schools, which we know are all those killers of a certain flag over here, and attempted twice to kill Donald Trump, succeeding in killing Cory Comparatore. Their lamentations ring empty. I don't believe a damn word of them. They call us Nazis. What do you think they want to happen to us? And the reason they call you that is because they want people to think you actually are that, because of course you'd want to, harm somebody that was that actual thing, right? Unfortunately, they don't seem to understand that the people they're calling that, of course, are not actually those things and don't believe anything that those people actually do believe. But that's what communists do. It's part of the communist thing is that they defame everybody as fascists, okay, to make sure that you, you're, I guess, what's the right term, indoctrinated enough to where you think like, of course I would go ahead and kill a fascist. And it's like that, that's what they want to have happen. Okay, like, these are the worst people on record, so of course you'd want to stop them. And I've said many times before that communists are far worse than the, funny mustache German people were back when they were around. It says, we must mourn, but we must rally. We're feeling a cold fury that other enemies of America felt the effects in the past, including the semi-humans who attacked us 24 years less a day ago. And that's regarding September 11th. It says, but these are domestic enemies, and indulging our fury is not the answer. Oh, that doesn't mean we don't buy guns and ammunition. That doesn't mean we don't lawfully conceal carry. That doesn't mean we don't meet direct violence with lawful violence in return. We can and will defend ourselves. And remember, it should be lawful, okay? There shouldn't be any extrajudicial, got tongue-tied there, sort of stuff going on. It all should be lawful. It says the leftists are giggling with delight. This is no surprise to us in the fight, but normals will be repelled. For that reason, we should encourage leftists to share their malignancy freely, but understand that they hate you and they literally want you to be murdered, and that is 100% correct. It says we will be tempted to hit back to hurt people who've hurt us. That's not the way. As much as we want to take out our anger on the left, as much as we want to strike out and lash out, that's not what our Constitution demands. It's not what Charlie Kirk would want. Charlie Kirk was very much nonviolence was the answer, and you can find that quote from him everywhere. Even Donald Trump said recently, I think it was like today or yesterday, on a Fox News interview, that, or at least it was clipped on Fox News, where he said like Charlie wouldn't want there to be violence, and he's right. It says we're not terrorists and we're not murderers. We've got the Constitution. Our Constitution addresses how to deal with the situation. We have laws, and we control the federal law enforcement apparatus. We will turn its full weight against not only the perpetrators of this crime, but the people behind the web of subversion from the left. Think of a January 6th prosecution-level effort, except it will not be an attempt to frame people by contorting the law and perverting the justice system. Between this savagery and the savagery on that North Carolina bus line, because that poor Ukrainian girl, I think, was, we saw the footage of that, I think, the day before this article was written. It says the Overton window has been thrown wide open, and it's time to defenestrate the left. And defenestrate just means throwing someone out a window. It's a really cool word for something that you're just like, oh, that's all it means. But yes, that's all it means. It says, no, not with unfocused retaliation, but with the full force of the law. And we have the people in position to do it. If this had happened under President Eggplant, hell, I don't even have to use the hypothetical. What do we know about the Butler shooter? Not a damn thing. However, we now have Donald Trump, or President Trump, it says, in the White House. We now have Kash Patel and Dan Bongino at the FBI, and Pam Bondi and Harmeet Dillon at the Justice Department. This is when they earn their pay. This is when being in charge means something, because now we have not just the opportunity, but the duty to dig deep into the web of leftist subversion that's been undermining our society, our culture, and our country. And President Trump did say this morning, again, as I record this, that he is going to start looking into George Soros, which is 100% what anybody should have been doing a long time ago. So it's about damn time there. It says, individually, what do? Well, we don't shut up. We don't submit. We don't cower in silence because we're afraid some freak will try to hurt us if we dare stand up and speak out like citizens. That's where being armed comes in. It's not about being macho. It's about being free from intimidation, free from threats, free from domination by the same bastards who are on Blue Sky chuckling over the murder of Charlie Kirk. Yeah, and it's gotten so bad on Blue Sky that even they have had to tell their people, like, you need to not do that, otherwise you're going to get banned. And people are getting banned over there, which, good on Blue Sky, but dear God, you guys need to do a much better job. This, as Americans, we will rally and move forward to protect our country. But at the same time, there's a family out there that's devastated. Charlie had a beautiful wife and 2 lovely little kids. Yeah, his kids are 3 and 1. Okay, his 1-year-old's never going to remember him. Okay, he's going to have no memory of his father growing up, and the 3-year-old probably, maybe, will have memories of that, and that's the thing that kills me. It says those lovely little kids are never going to see their daddy again because somebody shot him to death for daring to speak words that offended the killer. Those kids are going to spend the rest of their lives without a father. But at least they can know that their father was no coward. He went, unarmed and unarmored, in front of a couple of thousand people who hated him. He undoubtedly had death threats, and we know he had death threats. Said he knew what the left is capable of because he talked about it. And yet he walked out there and did his duty as an American to speak freely about what he believed. The man was a hero, and we can only hope that the knowledge will give his orphan children some iota of solace. This is a gut punch. This is real. It's not social media imagery. It's not a meme. It's a bullet striking bone, spurting blood, and killing a precious human being. We are not only justified in being angry, we are also obligated to be angry. But we must be righteously angry. I want retribution, but righteous retribution. We're not going to frame anybody. We're not going to trash our Constitution. We're not going to besmirch what Charlie Kirk stood for, even as we try to validate it. But neither are we going to be passive. Neither are we going to have fake empathy. We want justice, and justice must be swift, fair, and harsh. Charlie Kirk, American. Rest in peace. Yeah, I couldn't have really said it any better myself. I mean, even a couple days after this has happened, it still just feels surreal that this even happened. Unfortunately, it is the reality we have to live with, and just kind of move on from there. But sorry that this happened to you, Charlie. You deserved better than this. Your family deserved better. But you rest now. We'll take it from here. And that's really all I have to say about this. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.